You've been home for 2 hours. They say, what do you mean? We just got back. Hi guys, welcome back to the Quora Zone. Today we're reading from Have You Ever Experienced a Glitch in the Matrix? What are some glitch in the Matrix stories in which something inexplicable happened? Our first post is from Jamie Holscher. My younger brother and I were playing Halo when we were in high school. My parents had gone out for the night with one request of us: fold the clothes that were clean and sitting on the couch downstairs. We, like typical teenagers, kept playing Halo until we heard my parents. A few hours after they left, we heard keys jangling, the front door open and close, and the typical greeting my parents give when they arrive back. Boys, we're home. We both waited for the expected, why haven't you folded the clothes yet? But it never came. We thought, oh well, and kept playing our video game. About 2 hours later, we hear keys jangling, the front door open and close, and the all too familiar greeting from my parents.
Honey, I'm home.
Boys, we're home. We look at each other and think, huh. Then we hear, why haven't you folded the clothes like I asked you to? We yell back, you've been home for 2 hours. They say, what do you mean? We just got back. To this day, my brother and I swear we heard it the first time, and there definitely wasn't a sound of him ever leaving again in between. I'm quite a logical person and have no way to explain how it happened. Our next post is from Pia Pascal. I was sitting in my car before work when my cell phone rang. I was surprised to see it was my father because he was due to visit me in a week and usually didn't call before he flew in. I thought of not taking the call because I'd be late for work if I did. It's Dad, a voice inside my head say. Take the call. I picked up. Hi hon, I wanted to send you my itinerary but can't find your email address. I've searched everywhere. Sure, I laughed. But if you do a name search for me in your email account, it'll come up. I tried that, he insisted. And like I said, it's as though your email has disappeared. No problem. I gave it to him, thinking he must be going a little senile. We chatted after that, and it occurred to me that at 75 years of age, he sounded as excited as a little kid. It was rejuvenating to hear him so happy. I certainly couldn't recall him always being this way. Not at all. Next evening, my home phone rang. Seeing my father's wife's name on the caller ID caused alarm to rise within me. My father's second wife had despised me since I was 8 years old. As a result, he never called me from home, only his office, and his wife would never call me. Unless, again, I had the voice inside my head. You pick up that phone and hear T's voice. It means your father is dead. I felt suspended in time, as though refusing to pick up the phone could stop events from happening. And again, if my father was dead, I'd have to know eventually. I reached for the phone and picked it up. Everything inside me sank as I heard T's voice. Your father passed away today. She wasted no time in telling me that he died at work, sitting up at his desk after lunch. So, that lost email address, I have to believe it was divine destiny's way of letting us have that final conversation before my father died, because it's very hard to lose someone's email address, given the current technology. And that last time my father had planned to visit, he'd been very decisive, calling me and saying, I'm coming to see you. Usually he hemmed and hawed, asked me about dates, over and over again before booking a flight. So I'm left knowing that I was the last person my father really made an effort to see before he passed. And as he never made it, at least we shared that final connection that we never otherwise would have if he had not called for my email address the day before he died. Our next post is from Lisa. I don't know if this experience would be considered a glitch in the Matrix, but I'll tell it anyway. My boyfriend and I were visiting his friends for a few days. They lived in the area of Taylorsville, Pennsylvania. Hope I spelled that correctly. We were driving back from the gas station down a heavily wooded road.
Muriel?
Yes, Mavis?
Do you know that you've just gone through a red light and over a roundabout and you haven't even slowed down?
Am I driving?
Muriel, you are driving.
I noticed an opening up ahead and there was a cabin that was actually a bar. There were cars parked right off the road, so we pulled over to check it out. The place, of course, was filled with locals and people were shooting pool, so we played some pool and had some draft beer. We had a really good time. His friends didn't live too far from the cabin bar. We told them what a good time we had. They didn't know of this place. I found that strange. So we said, we'll go back the next night. We cannot find this place. We drove up and down the road. We couldn't believe that we couldn't find it. We both remember where it was. It was impossible to miss it because it seemed to be in the middle of nowhere. We even asked people in the gas station and like a coffee shop if they knew about this bar. Nobody knew what we were talking about. It was creepy. From listening to all Glitch in the Matrix stories, I believe that maybe it was a time travel thing. Like they glitched back in time to this cabin. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Our next post is from Andre Peccio. I was living in an apartment for about 2 months. The buildings have one of these parking lots which the gate opens by a remote controller. My front door neighbour did not have a car, so I was using her remote controller instead. One day she asked for it. Her parents were going to visit her, and they would need a controller. I gave it back and asked her which company made those remote controllers and saved their phone number. It was a regular Tuesday. I planned to call them to order a remote controller, because I shouldn't park on the street since many cars got stolen there. The day passes by. It was around 8 p.m. when I remembered to call them. Tried, but it was too late. Nobody answered. I parked on the street and slept. Next morning, my bell rings. I answered it, and a guy who works for the company I was going to call what was at my front door to deliver my remote controller. I freaked out and explained to him that I indeed needed it, but never called him. He apologized and called the company, then realized he made a mistake. He was supposed to make the controller for a different building in a different neighborhood in the apartment number 34. Mine was 43. I ended up buying it from him in my front door since it was programmed to work only on my parking lot. It was the most effortless order ever. Our next post is from R. Stanley. This one was nuts. I went with my wife to visit my dad. We went out for a late lunch, which was nice. Went back and had a coffee, watched Poop Cruise on Netflix, laughed, had a good time, went home and had some intimate fun. Very nice afternoon and evening. A few days later I mentioned it and she had no recollection. Now, admittedly, my wife is more than a bit of a stoner, so her memory is often enough impaired, but only when she's stoned, but she was not stoned on the day in question. At least, not in my memory. So she has zero memory. I sent my dad a text discreetly mentioning the afternoon. What are you talking about? He responds. Something, yeah, maybe this was a dream, which was entirely too real. After taking shrooms and a gummy followed by a shot of good scotch. And then 2 weeks later, we go and visit again, and guess what? Really know what I'm about to say. It was that effing afternoon and evening, and to every single detail, it was beyond deja vu. It was like watching a scene from a movie I really liked, and any time I tried to change a detail, I couldn't, because it played out entirely naturally. It's entirely possible that the meds I'm on pushed me into a weird mental state, but I've been on the same meds for over a decade, and nothing at all like this has ever happened before. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. No proof of anything. This was totally messed up. My only thought with this is that he might have died and he was put into another timeline before he died. But then he's saying that he couldn't change anything. Hard to think of an answer for that one. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. Our next post is from Gina Jadornakopia. Yeah, and it messed me up. I had a Far Side comic book maybe 50 pages long. It was one of my favourite books, and as I've always been an avid reader and very thorough, I'm serious, I even read the copyright information. And I read this book, no joke, maybe close to 100 times. I knew every page by heart. Or I thought I did. One evening, I was flipping through it to find a certain comic I wanted to read to a friend on the phone. I knew exactly where it was. But before I could reach the page, I had in mind there were suddenly and inexplicably all these others. There were pages and pages that I'd never seen before. A baffling array of comics that I've never read or as much as skimmed past. This may seem only a small thing, but understand that this book was a personal favourite, beloved and long memorised, word for word, suddenly and glaringly wrong. As far as adjectives go, creepy doesn't do it justice. I inspected those pages to see if maybe they'd been stuck together somehow, but could find no sign of that. The unfamiliar cartoons were scattered all throughout the book rather than concentrated in one section. I considered whether or not my long treasured copy could have been switched with a new version by some friend of mine, made prankish by boredom. The secretly dog-eared pages and my ballpoint pen doodles in Pacific margins ruled this out. I was a bit frantic, I admit. I called my friend and tried to explain that the pages I was staring at were not supposed to be there. It was surprisingly hard to explain how disturbed I felt. There was just a sense of wrongness slithering up my vertebrae, shaking across my mood. I ended up giving the book away, as eventually the creep factor overwhelmed the enjoyment of curling up with it on a rainy day. I often wish I thought I hadn't, though. 2 decades later, I find a shivering mystery just to be one more of the curious joys of life. Yeah, I have no answer for that one at all. But if you guys do, definitely let me know in the comments. Looking in the comments, someone says that they probably shifted to a different parallel dimension reality, but the Gary Larson book was just a little different. Apparently there are tons and tons of stories, like Gina. Alright guys, that is all from the Quora Zone today. I hope you guys really enjoyed these Glitch in the Matrix stories. If you want to hear some more, subscribe to my channel, like, comment. If you have your own Glitch in the Matrix stories, you can pop it in my email, which I put here, which is also in the description below.